One, two, three, four.
Hello, you're listening to the Skylight Books podcast series. We are a general interest independent bookstore located in the Los Feliz neighborhood of Los Angeles, California. This year, because of the coronavirus pandemic, we've had to close our store and cancel in-person events. But Skylight is your neighborhood bookstore, and we are finding ways to create community even while we're far apart. In the coming weeks, we'll be putting out lots of new audio content to help you discover new books, connect with authors, and check in with your favorite booksellers. To learn more about how you can help keep Skylight alive, please visit our website at skylightbooks.com or check out our social media accounts on Twitter and Instagram. You can subscribe to the podcast on Podbean, iTunes, and Spotify. Thank you for listening and enjoy.
Lauren Fanella was born in Southern California, where she currently works and lives. She currently works and lives in LA. She has over 13,000 followers on Instagram, where she talks about books and films. Her favorite genres are literary fiction, memoirs, and essays, and her other big passion is cinema, both where she publicizes on her Instagram. So, hello, Lauren. I'm so happy to have you. This is exciting.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I mean, I'm excited to have you. This has been a work in progress for
Yes.
me, but it's fantastic. It's fantastic to have you.
Yeah, I'm so glad to be here. Skylight is my favorite bookstore in LA, so honored.
No, we love how much you publicize us on your social media as well. So can you start by telling me how you started becoming a book influencer?
Yeah, so after I got out of college, I kind of rediscovered my love of reading for pleasure because I wasn't reading anymore for school.
Right.
So I gradually started reading a little bit more. I read like 20 books, I think, in a year, which was a lot at the time. And I was reading all these books that I was reading.
Right.
So I started this Instagram account, just posted a picture of a book I was reading. And I soon discovered it was this whole little niche community on Instagram called Bookstaggramming. And so I just started posting books I'm reading, and then it just kind of went from there. And something I really like about it is I kind of have this visual diary of everything I've read for the past 3.5 years. So it's really actually a great reference to if someone is asking for a recommendation or something in person, I kind of could just look on there real quick and be like, wait, I know something kind of like that. So it's actually really nice to reference too, just for myself as well.
And it's so funny because that's kind of how we met, because, well, you and a mutual friend of ours, Christine, and you guys a very popular social media for your books.
Yeah, so it's been a really great community of readers that I've been able to connect with, which was unexpected when I first started my account. So I really have been able to make connections with other readers as well as publishers. So that's been really an unexpected surprise and benefit to starting my account, which is great. And yeah, so that's how we met as well.
Yeah, and you seeing that community, it's just like, it's amazing as a bookseller to like use one. I feel like it's a not a well-used thing in the book community.
Author events that you wouldn't have normally been able to attend because it's in New York or it's in at Powell's and Portland and stuff like that.
Right.
So yeah, it's kind of the online version of hand selling in a brick and mortar store. So that's cool.
I mean, and that's, as a bookseller who's not really a social media person, I feel like that's amazing though. Like the most I do for my social media is like post yearly, like this is the books I love this year, which like just for like my two friends to like be like, oh, I'll read that. But like you're reaching like a much wider range of people. How was seeing like the growth of like followers, of people who are just like loved your work online, love to see like your own takes on these books and films too, I should say.
Yeah, it was really unexpected, but it's really great that people like the recommendations that I'm giving, and I, try to be honest. And what's also been good is that I read a lot more than I did when I first started. Reading less, but I'm actually kind of reading more than I was before. And so I just try to, and it's a balance. Kind of Bookstagram media is a lot of all the new books. Sometimes if you're not reading all the new books, so I try to balance older books we call it backlist titles. So books that haven't come out in the current year, past 2 years, maybe. So I try to, it's been interesting because people actually are looking for more recommendations online for those kind of books than actually all the new stuff, because a lot of the new books are everywhere. Like when you walk into a bookstore, sometimes, there'll be the new release table, and people sometimes want more of the backlist titles recommended as well. And they're curious about that.
So the backlist is like, I feel like this is terminology that like in the bookstore world we don't use as much, but like it's so crazy that there's like terminology.
A year ago, this is what I'm going to read this month, and they do that. I am not one of those people. I am very moody. Like I don't want to decide, oh, I'm reading X, Y, and Z. I just am like, whatever speaks to me, because people ask that a lot. How do you decide what to read next? And I typically alternate between fiction and nonfiction. I really am trying to fiction every year. Sometimes it'll just be books that maybe it kind of references a book, or it just makes me think about another book or author that I've been meaning to read. And it's just really what sways me at the time. There's no real rhyme or reason, except I do try to keep the nonfiction fiction, because I have realized if I read a lot of fiction all at once, it's like sequentially, I get a little bit burned out from it. So nonfiction actually is kind of a good breakup between
fiction and everything, but like a palate cleanser in a way for like, let's say, to reset and read more fiction, which is good for, I feel like, a lot of people. I feel like that works in the opposite too, where people who read a lot of nonfiction like to mix it up and read fiction sometimes, to go back to nonfiction.
Really interesting how I read more. I'm just alike, and memoir was a genre I was not familiar with really at all. Nonfiction being, using creative writing really is a lot of what memoir is. And it was like reckoning to me when I read some memoirs for the first time. And that's really become my favorite genre, because to me, a phenomenal memoir, there's nothing like it, in my opinion. It's really just truly great. And a lot of memoirs, they reference other works that have been influential in that genre. I love seeing who blurbs what authors book. That's actually been a really good indicator for me of what I might like. Stephanie, like debut writers. Yeah.
So how like that kind of influence feel to like have like these important figures in the book world, I guess, and they probably in a way look to you to like, one, publicize their books or give them great recommendations for books, or like talk about their own books. How does that feel?
Yeah, it's cool. I try not to like, I don't really promise, oh, I'm going to post on this day, because I really want it to be organic for me. Understanding publishing a bit better. I really had no sense of it before. And what, just in regards to how I mentioned my taste evolving, is I pay more attention to what books I really like and what publishers those come from. And I've actually realized that's also a good indicator of something I might like. Scribner, Knopf, One World books. I will pretty much read what they put out, or because a lot of my favorite books have come from there. and Riverhead is also a great, so just to see kind of like, oh, these are the kind of books that they're putting out, the genres, the writers that they're publishing has been really interesting. And authors following, it's really cool to have some of them, and I feel really like grateful, and it's really cool to just have that rapport with them. And also they provide book recommendations as well, which is always great. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's like probably like a very on both sides give and take relationship of them just like getting these great reviews from you, and also like passing it on to people who might not like being like do you feel like it's sometimes you're like the middle person between the publisher and people who are reading books too, in a way?
Yeah. And some people, kind of ask, oh, when are you going to read this, or if you're going to read it? And I'm just like, I'll get to it. I'm definitely going to read that. Not sure when I will. And because I do read a lot on the book, I get a little mad at her, and I want to kind of give that book extra love and attention, because I feel like it kind of flew under the radar because so many books are published in a year. It's bound to happen, especially last year. It's very challenging for, especially a new writer and stuff, if they had a book coming out, because they weren't going around to all the bookstores and everything like that. So I really like when I feel like it's a book that to kind of a shout out and recommendation. I really enjoy that. And sometimes I'll do like comps where I say, hey, if you like this, you might like this book. And so I'm kind of doing that for ones more of the backlist too, to kind of bring those together with newer books as well. Even though I know it's not an exact science, the comps thing, but yeah.
it's not an exact science for like, in the sense of like the person too. Like sometimes a person like two books would be almost identical, and a person would be like, I liked about last year when like booksellers were more out of commission in a way because we couldn't be face to face. I feel like bookstagrammers like you were like kind of the booksellers of last year. The online, you should have been like getting so many of the, I know so many people who look to bookstagrammers to like get recommendation for books while they were sitting at home doing like not able to like go out and do things. They were looking for you guys.
Yeah, thank you. And something that I noticed too with last year is people that weren't really readers started getting into reading more. So they were coming to Bookstagram as well, because they weren't really readers. So they didn't really know where to start really with what books to read or what they would like. So I noticed that a lot last year. People had messaged me saying, oh, I just got back into reading that. And, I followed your account, and that makes me really happy. And that it's like, I just love to hear people getting back reading and reading. What I like experience into it. So, but when you find people that, like similar things to you, like you connect, I think on a really cool, intimate level with people.
And I mean, I feel like that's so important to the book world as well. Like there's a lot of that there's a lot of like that need to like connect in that way. So as one book lover, thank you for that. And just like out of my own curiosity, how would you say that you really
so last year was an outlier year. I don't know, it was a weird year as an understatement. So I read 160 books last year. This year I'm actually reading more. And it's partly because I'm working from home, so I'm not commuting, and I have extra time in the morning. So yeah, so and I kind of wanted to focus more on older titles this year, which I've been able to do, which is good. So, and I also listen to year or two.
Do you also get more books in while you're like, you can't like read sometimes, you just listen to it? Which one do you think you do more, reading physical copies or audiobooks?
Physical books for sure. I will just want to plug Libro FM, which I they give some of their profits back to independent bookstores, and they're really great. So I've been using their service, which is great.
No, Libro FM is amazing in like their work in like getting people off of Audible and Libro. It's like it's been like a process, but like I think it's getting even better in like how people are listening to audiobooks now on Amazon.
Yeah.
Because of other endeavors in your own life. How do you find that?
I like it as a creative outlet. I kind of see it as that, and really having that community is really important to me. And I think it's made a really positive impact, and just having a creative outlet. My job, I kind of was, needed that creative outlet, and talking about books and movies is great. So
I should, and I feel like this is a perfect segue, because you not only talk about books on your Instagram, you talk about the movies you're watching, which is also a very like great list of films, which I'm just like also amazed by, because like that is, to balance both seems like also amazing.
Yeah. So I used to movies, and I found a lot of readers are also into film. And I was watching films and I do have a network LA, also under the radar, just kind of share that with people. And I'm also a really big fan of international cinema and trying to get people to watch more movies from all around the world. And that's something I'm really passionate about. So, and I know I've talked to you about this before, but just it's really, with movies and books, it's cool how sometimes just coincidentally themes will overlap and just kind of intertwine, and you don't even plan it. And it really just is amazing to me. And it just, it's not like a plot level or time period, but it will just be like, oh, they kind of touched on that, and then this touched on that, and just kind of thinking about all of these different stories.
My next question for you is, how do you see, what would you like your relationship, because you shout out a lot of bookstores in your podcast, not podcast, this is what we're on, in your online presence. Do you get a lot of like partnerships, or just like a lot of bookstores reaching out to like either thank you for that, or like wanting to like asking to show you off on their social media or some sort?
I don't. I know some of the bookstores have used pictures that I've taken. Like Book Soup, they will use pictures that I've taken. And American Booksellers of America, I know they've used posts I've taken, but that's kind of the extent of my relationship with the bookstores in LA.
Wait, in the future, and I mean, like, this, I feel like this is not to get a little bit presumptuous as a person who does work at a bookstore, but like, would you like to work with bookstores more in the future?
Yeah, I definitely, that's kind of been a dream or interest of mine, because I know at Book Soup, I had gone in there once and they had like a guest bookseller, and it was a writer, I think, who was just kind of there to give like book recommendations to people who came in. So I was like, that would be kind of a cool thing to do, maybe, just as a thing, or potentially a author event or something like that, or anything, talking about books. I'm definitely interested in.
Well, this is a shout out to all the bookstores out there. If you want Lauren to come into your bookstore when everything's better, I guess, but like to work anything, she's ready. She is ready to go.
Yes.
So I didn't ask you this earlier, and this is something I usually ask people I talk to on here, but I didn't ask you because I feel like it would be you watch and read so much that it would be so like kind of pointless to ask this, but I'm gonna ask it anyways. Has there been anything, I'm gonna rephrase it a little bit, but has there been anything in the past year that like has helped you deal with the pandemic in any sort of way? Anything you've watched or read, or both, that has like helped you just like remember that like, or not even remember, give you some sort of sense of peace or in some way?
Yeah, so kind of, I think I touched on it earlier with how much I read last year. And with movies, a lot of people have mentioned, they have a harder time concentrating because of everything going on. And for me, it's kind of the opposite. I tend to bury myself in these two things a lot as a form of coping with everything going on. And there's been some movies and some books that kind of have made me more nostalgic for before the pandemic, and really, I think, hit differently than maybe if I had consumed them in a normal world, whatever that is. But there certainly are ones that made me feel more grateful for what, just daily life was like before the pandemic.
And I think
just one that's coming to mind right now of a movie is Patterson, that was done by Jim Jarmusch, because it's just a week in the life and it's nothing crazy happens or anything. And I had actually tried to watch that before and I was bored and I didn't finish it, but I watched it in the pandemic. And it really, I was crying because it was just, he's just living his life and it's nothing crazy, nothing extra special, but it is actually special, just daily life. So, and it also, he wrote poetry. So kind of it was bookish in that way. So yeah.
No, I mean, I think that like stuff like that, like, we didn't realize the importance of it because we didn't think of it as important because it was so normal. But now that the normal's gone, right? Like we have to like fill in that with these movies now, and it's and like it kind of speaks to the idea that like maybe some books and some stories are made for certain times. And like, yeah, it's just, that's amazing. So watch Patterson. This is a advertisement for that Jim Jarmusch film, Patterson, I guess. My next question for you is like, how do you see your online presence like in the future? Do you think that where do you want to be in the future with this?
So I'm not really quite sure exactly. I'm really bad at that question whenever they ask you at work, where you see yourself in 5 years.
Right, no, but that's the worst question. I'm so sorry I asked.
Oh no, it's okay. No, it's not. But really, I would just say that I hope, I'm still reading books that I want to read, that I feel passionate about and that I want to share. And definitely maybe writing more in a different capacity. That's something that I am interested in as well. And yeah, just I'm looking forward to, all the new books that are going to come out of this pandemic, actually, and not about the pandemic, but I think it was probably maybe a good writing year for some writers and maybe not a good writing. I'm really curious to see what this huge global event did, has the impact on these art forms. I'm really interested to see what that looks like.
Wow, I think that a lot of people are going to like have that too, want to like see what's coming out soon. So I think that's, wow, what a great answer. You were saying that you wouldn't have a great answer to it, and you did. So I have one more question for you. And I feel like a lot of your listeners or followers, sorry, haven't haven't heard your voice in any way. They see your posts and they see your voice through your posts, of course, but this might be the first time that they get to like hear you and hear you talk. So is there anything you want to say to your followers that you like just want to say out loud in your own voice?
I think just thank you for reading books with me and just sharing your love of literature with me, because honestly, other people talking about books and sharing their love of literature helps me remember how much I love it, and really keeps it feeling exciting to talk about.
No, that's great. And if you haven't followed Lauren yet, start following. She is, as a follower myself, her posts are just great. And honestly, as a bookseller, I will steal some of them and be like, if it's for a book I haven't read, I might recommend someone's asking me about it, I might steal some of them. So thank you for that too. Thank you for letting me steal some of your content to use to sell books to people, which like at the end of the day, it's great that the people are getting the books, right?
Yeah.
So where can we find you online if someone wants to follow you?
Yeah, on Instagram, I'm just at literarylauren_.
And you will not be disappointed in following at all. And yeah, start following. So thank you again, Lauren, for joining me today. This has been so much fun. We've been friends for about like 7 months now. It's been since I moved to LA, yeah.
Yes.
And you've just been a great person to be friends with, and two, a great like film and book buddy with me. It's just been like amazing talking about books with you. What can your followers be excited about looking like for next in your book posts or film posts too?
Ooh, so I would say I just finished Detransition Baby by Tori Peters, which was great. And I also am hoping to read some more backlist titles, some more Toni Morrison and Gloria Naylor. So I'm gonna be talking about those. And as far as movies go, I'm excited to hopefully be returning soon to theaters and see Chloe, hopefully. So hopefully seeing some new stuff there. So yeah.
So look out to all the listeners. You'll to all the Toni Morrison fans too. Like, I mean, I feel like everyone should be a Toni Morrison fan. So look out on Lauren's posts for those. But thank you again. Do you have any last words to the Skylight community at all, which you are a part of? So
no, just thank you so much for having me. And I love coming to visit you all there and buy my books.
No, we love you. Every time you come in, you shout us out. So we love you at Skylight too. And we can't wait till we get to like all come back without masks one day.
Yeah.
So I also want to point out that every book Lauren posts, you can buy at Skylight. So if you want to support your local independent bookstore too, you can order through them and just like come in and shop around and see what is there. And maybe one day we'll have Lauren in to do her own personal hand selling. But before then, just click on her Instagram, and we'll definitely have a link to that too when this gets posted. So thank you again, Lauren. Thank you to all my beautiful listeners. It's always a pleasure. And you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Skylight Books podcast series. Please don't forget to visit our website at skylightbooks.com and make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast for more author talks and bookseller conversations. You can find us on Podbean, iTunes, and Spotify. Stay safe and healthy, and we hope to see you back in our store soon.
I see